Welcome back. This is Introduction to C Sharp. So we taking things up from where we stopped just in the last video. I'm going to make this full screen and we proceed. So again, Introduction to Visual Studio. The whole history of Visual Studio, I've removed it from the slide, so now it's under reading. Again, I encourage you, please go and read those things as soon as you get them from me. It allows you to get a clear picture of everything, even though we are not going to be testing you on that. So, the IDE of Visual Studio, I've shown you 2 videos where I just played around. However, I'm going to give you more practice to do. It's going to come in a practice sheet. You work with your tutors on WhatsApp for that, and you practice with so that you can get familiar with the IDE. Types of applications in Visual Studio. So in Visual Studio, you can do so much. You can create video games, you can do machine learning, you can create Windows app, web apps, console applications, you can create web services and a lot of that. So here's a list of a few things you can do. Standard applications, which include your Windows applications with the GUI, graphical user interface, and console applications with the one with the dark screen we used to create. You can have store applications, Windows store applications. You can have mobile applications with what the technology called Xamarin technology, Xamarin Forms. Xamarin allows you to create mobile apps that can, with one push of a button, ship them straight to either iPhones or to Android phones, which is one of the biggest things that this offers to you. Then the list goes on. There are many things you can do. You can have .NET processes. Processes are things that run on your task manager on the background on your PCs. And class libraries are things you can share amongst other developers writing in other languages. DLLs, dynamic link libraries, you can create those. And there's so much you can do. Just like I said, functionality is crazy, a lot of it. And what we have to do just to take it one step at a time and understand algorithms so that we can create whatever we want. Here is one of the screenshots from the previous versions of Visual Studio that I was able to grasp. I think it was this year or last year. And it kind of shows you many possible apps. You can see there's Android here. There's cross-platform stuff here on the web. You can create cloud applications. You can create under C Sharp. This C++, Visual C++, can create all of this. You can have Python programs. You can have iOS. R is a programming language that allows you to plot some very nice graphs and all those things. SQL Server is here. You can write your SQL queries. Let's see what else. iOS, you can target iPad and iPhones or universal app that works on any kind of device resolution or screen dimensions you have. JavaScript, you can do all of this. Node.js, mobile apps. Then with Python, you can do machine learning. The list goes on. All right. And even online, you can download more templates of what to do with your Visual Studio. So, console applications, it's what we're going to start with in this unit, in this module. Then towards the end, I'm going to introduce you guys to GUI, graphical user interface, just for the fun of it. So the language is going to be C Sharp, like you already know. And hello world, practice. So refer to practice. What does that mean? I don't want to spend too many minutes on videos explaining this when I probably have done it in one video, or I want you guys to actually get hands-on doing it yourself. That's where the practice comes in. So you're going to get a practice sheet. And however, I'm going to show you what you need to do to be able to carry out those practice. So reading and writing in C Sharp. In Python, remember we had input statement, we had print. So in C Sharp, it's called console the read line and console the write line. This you've seen in the previous video. However, this you haven't seen. So quickly, I can show you that. Let me reach out to my Visual Studio IDE quickly. All right, so here we go. By the way, at the time I'm recording this video, I can now see that this is actually, it has happened, and Manchester United has qualified and the 3rd position, which is great. So, assuming I want to read a number, I can read a number into a variable, and in this language, you have to declare a variable first. So, like I showed you previously, int I, that's my variable, then I can use that variable to read a number. All right, so I would say it's console the read line. All right, at some point I explained the difference between read line, read key, and all of that to you. As it is now, you could see there is an error showing. Remember in Python we had to convert, we said whatever we read was going to be a string, so we have to convert it to integer. So in this language, the same thing is the case. So you have to convert dot. So you say to int 32. All right. So converting in this language is using the conversion class. So this is called a class. And when I say dot, I'm trying to reach out to the methods in that class. Visual Studio will give you different coloring to remind you what is what. Whatever you see in this color, on your PC, the color may be different. Whatever you see in this color, for example, is more likely going to be a method, like this one. Reading is a method, to integer is a method, the main is a method, read key is a method, write line is a method. The one in my own colors now that appears as this color, like a greenish color, that is the classes where these methods are. So in the convert class, you can do this. In the console class, you can read and write, and the list goes on. All right. As you can see, that is consistent with our class ourselves, because in our class, you can see program, it's a class. All right. But I'm going to explain the whole structure of classes and namespace separately in another video. So now that I have I from the console, let's just say I want to display I plus 2. Then I will just say, remember how to display console.writeLine. And I will say whatever I is plus 2. All right. So it's a simple program. It doesn't do much. Just once and for all, let me show you how to comment things in this language. You do 2 forward slashes and it's commented. So I don't want to display the Manchester United message, so I've just commented it out. And there we go. So we read a method, we read something, and we display the same thing. I'll run F5. It's compiling, it's building, and let's give it a second. All right, so it's running now. It's expecting me to put a number. If I put 5, I'm expecting 7. Everything works just perfectly well. All right, I'm going to go back to my slide. We've just seen how to read and we've seen how to write. You can read a value, however, you have to declare the variable first. And we discussed that later on in the video. And remember that read line reads the value from a line and it returns a string. So if you want the value to be used for something else, you have to convert it to either an integer. To convert, also remember there is a bunch of classes for conversion. Convert is the class, a bunch of methods. If I just stay and say dot, the IntelliSense also show you all the options you have. You have dots to, there are other things like to Boolean that converts to true or false, to character, to decimal, to date and time, to double, the list go on, and many conversions that are possible. All right. So, but in this case, it's to integer. All right, we're back here. So we've seen this. Again, this is the conversion. So I'll put it on the slide in case you want to remember. That's how it goes. And initial rules in C#, variables must be declared. You've seen that. If I show you quickly, if I do not declare this variable, I'm going to get an error immediately. You see that I is on the line. It says the name I does not exist in the current context. You cannot find it until I declare it, and it can find it. One of the major differences between Python and this is actually that variables here have to be declared. C# is case sensitive. Please remember that. So if you wrote something like int sum, and then you say sum, those are 2 different variables. So please, just unlike in Python, case is not a problem. So here it's very different. And if you have a static void main, or you have a static void main like this, there are 2 different things. So in this language, case sensitivity is important. The static keyword has to be a lowercase. And I'm going to tell you the class keyword also has to be lowercase. If I put a capital letter, I'm going to have an error. And it follows similar rules to Java. If you've been exposed to Java before, but if you haven't been, it's okay. After you learn C#, you can just port the knowledge straight to Java, and you can have some early wins in Java. Again, you don't have to learn C# and rush straight and learn Java. You just have to be able to solve complex problems in either Python or C#. Anything your Java is thrown at you, you just need a couple of hours to check the syntax and you'll be fine. You'll be able to solve a very complex problem. All right. So every statement must end in a semicolon. There are exceptions where there is curly brackets. So when you have blocks, control blocks like your if statements and your for loops, they must start with a curly bracket and it must end with a curly bracket. All right, so let's look at a program that is a greeting program that says hello, reads a name and says hello to you with that name. So we're using class here. Class is one of your colleagues in your class. Did you see what I did there? Class in your class. All right, so here's what that program should look like. So using system, again, you need system class because this class allows you to do input and output. This is your namespace, which is typically the name of your project. Class program, that's actually where the class that accesses your program. It's object orientation. So every aspect of your program is a class. And I'm going to get that to at some point. This is your main program. We're going to talk about that, what all of this mean. So again, I showed you how to declare a variable. In this case, one data type you can use to declare a variable when you know it's going to be a string is the keyword string. And be careful to make sure that that is not a capital letter. Again, capital letters in this language are mostly referring to classes. Small letters are referring to other things that are references. So if I said string, for example, X, all right, you could see the color is gone to this color. Yeah, that is like the color of a class. However, if I change this S to small letter s, the color has gone to blue. That's like the color of an object. You know what I'm saying? Of like a type, which is like integer. So if I want to read a name, I can use string name. All right. So in that case, I'm saying my variable is name and the type is string. So the way you declare is you go for type, then variable name, type and variable name. And we're going to get onto that at some point. So I'm just going to show you this code. And you can now read, of course, you know how we read, name equals console.readLine. Then I can display console.writeLine, good morning, and plus here is concatenation. This language, plus is used for concatenation. And you have name next to it. And then console.readKey, you know why we always put that in so that the screen can stay. And that's a very simple example. So structure of C# programs. Now, I've put this in your reading because I want you to read about how to arrange programs into namespaces, classes, libraries, and things like that. So I'll put in the reading and then you're going to get that. Namespace is also in the readings. Comments in the readings because I'm not going to ask you questions about them. We have to understand how it works so that you can organize your program. Comments, again, I've shown you how to comment, but then let me just quickly show you. So this is commenting in C#. You put double slash, the whole line gets commented out. However, there is a multi-line commenting in C#. So if I want to comment all of this code, I start with a slash and an asterisk. Then I'll go to the end of my comment and I'll end it with asterisk, then slash. In that case, everything in that range becomes commented out. So please note that, and also that will be in your reading anyway, so you can remember to study. Data types. How does data type work in .NET? So again, I've explained to you that the whole idea is that many programming languages are going to be one IDE, which is Visual Studio IDE, and you can write in C#, VB.NET, whatever language you want, and it's compiled together. So there's what we call common type system. It's something within the .NET framework that allows us to match. If you said int in Java and in C#, as the other person said integer in VB.NET, so the Visual Studio understands it as the same thing using the common type system, just the way it sounds. The common type, let's map it to a type. So that's basically what the common type system is all about. And a few things I'll put in the reading for you guys. So it's common language specification, meaning that they wanted to have a way to write in different languages but still have the same specification. And otherwise, types in C# are the same thing you expect from object-oriented programming languages. Here we have C# as integers of different types, int 16, int 32, depending on the size of the buffer you want. Boolean types for true and false values. You have floating types and double types and string types and character types, just like every other language, like we had in C#. All right. So common type system, there's some reading for you guys to do. Common language specification, also some reading. Again, these are textual stuff, we don't want to waste time on them. Again, here is a list of things that are mapped to the common type system. So Boolean, character, byte, and short, That's a very short integer. Int is a little bit longer, and you have long is a little longer, 64 bits long. Then you have float, you have decimal, which is really large, a floating point number. You have string. All right, and these are the way the literals are specified. Remember, literals are like strings or initial values. That's the way they're specified. Syntax of variable declaration, you've seen it. Please also refer to practice. Again, when I say that, I mean variable declaration is something like this. All right. So you've seen the syntax. Give me a second. Let me just comment up only this part. So these are two variable declarations. This is declaring a name, and this is declaring an integer called I. So you've seen the two. Typecasting, please refer to reading. I've shown you another example. Typecasting is what we did when we did convert dot to int. All right. Then a value and reference types are two different concepts, and I want you to refer to reading. It's also on the reading. How do you know which one? Is it a value type or a reference type? Also, it's on the reading. Boxing and unboxing is on the reading. So the whole idea of boxing and unboxing is when you take a variable that is string, you turn it back to a number. That's unboxing. If you take a variable that is a number, you wrap it into a string. That's boxing. Very simple concept. I'm not going to be testing you this year about that, but it's also in your reading. You can look at it. Arrays are in your reading. And in the next video, I'm going to step through this array example and explain better to you. So see you in the next video.